Looks like we have a few folks connecting right now, so I'll wait a moment. All right. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Village of Cottage Grove Plan Commission meeting. It's Wednesday, October 14th. It is 6:31 on my watch. This is being held via a Zoom due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Individuals can look at the top of the agenda and select the link, those that aren't on here at least, or for the video, or they can select or call in to the audio. And then there is a note on the agenda that certainly participants can also reach out and leave a message to our clerk, Lisa, as well. So I will turn over to Lisa to do roll call to confirm that we have a quorum.
All right. Brinkmeyer.
Here.
Broom.
Here.
Justison.
Here.
Ratcliffe.
Here.
Bale.
Here.
Schultz.
Here.
And Williams.
Here. All right. We have a quorum and the agenda was properly posted. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Item 4 is public appearances, public's opportunity to speak on any subject that is not a specific agenda item. For those that do want to speak, I just ask you to please share your name, your address, and then limit your comments to no more than 3 minutes in case we have a bunch of folks that want to speak. So I will pause, and if someone wants to jump in, please feel free to do so.
Yes, John, this is Joe Bowers. Can you hear me?
I can, Joe.
Yeah, Joe Bowers here with my brother Jeff Bowers. I'm a village resident at 143 East Reynolds Street. And my brother is a town resident, 4600 County Road N. And we jointly own the property at 4600 County Road N. I would like to speak on agenda item 7, Cottage Grove Commons Phase 2 GDP, and also number 10, Glen Grove Apartments PIP. Thank you.
Okay, Joe, I'm assuming you want to speak then later on when those items are up, or
Yes.
if you want. Okay. Thank you for announcing. Any others that want to speak on an item that is not a specific agenda item? All right, then we'll move on then. Item 5 is discuss and consider the meeting minutes from our Plan Commission meeting that was held on September 15th. Any comments or questions?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to table the meeting minutes approval till next meeting and ask staff to review item number 7. There were 3 motions, I believe, through that in that discussion, and only 2 were captured. And so without dragging out what it was and what they were, I guess I'm making a motion to table and ask staff to review that and bring it back to the next meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second
As
it.
anybody knows what all the 3 motions were.
Okay. We have a motion and second to table the meeting minutes from September 15th. Any further discussion? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Anybody abstain? Motion carries. All right, item 6 is discuss and consider a zero lot application from Benjamin Herr to split an existing duplex lot at 216 and 218 Partner Place. Aaron, do you want to give a little background? I know you got some information in the packet.
Yeah, this is pretty straightforward. It's an existing duplex currently on one parcel. The owner would like to split it in two. Everything's in order. It's consistent with the ordinance. We'd recommend approval. I did have a couple of conditions in the staff report, nothing major. Couple details as far as locating the laterals on the CSM drawing, and then making sure they record the maintenance agreement. They provided a signed copy of it. We just have to make sure they get it recorded.
Okay. Any questions or comments from commission members?
I'll make a motion to approve the zero lot line application from Benjamin Hurd to split an existing duplex lot at 216 and 218 Parador Place.
I'll second.
And Melissa and Alex, is that with staff conditions, correct?
I wasn't planning on blowing anything up other than
Yes, thank you.
I also second the conditions, yep.
All right. Super. Any other discussion from the commission?
and to show them the preliminary plan. So,
Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Anybody abstain? Motion carries. All right, moving on to item 7 then. This is to open a public hearing. So I will open a public hearing, the opportunity for public to provide input regarding the proposed general development plan and the preliminary plat from CF Investments for Cottage Grove Commons, Phase 2, to be located on the south of Cottage Grove Commons, Phase 1, parcel 0711-042-9515-1. So start with the public hearing with probably hearing from the applicant, CF Investments.
Yeah, I believe they're all gathered at Mike Calkins' office, so they can feel free to take it from here.
Okay. I can see my video.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
Whether you can see us or not, just doesn't matter. My name is Craig Frank, CF Investments, and I'm here with my son Corey and Mike Calkins, and we're here to discuss approval of our second phase of Cottage Grove Commons. This would be the GDP and the preliminary plat. And just to give you a history here of what we have out there, last year the first phase was approved plus or minus the same time frame. And that was a 105 unit mixed use building along with 4 8-unit condominiums. And so far that project has been going quite well. So we decided to start the process of approvals for the second phase. Corey here will go through a presentation, and then Mike will give some information on the preliminary plat, and we're here to answer any questions, and hopefully all questions. So Corey?
Right. Can everyone see our screen here that we're sharing?
Yes, we can, Corey.
Right. Sounds good. All right, so as you mentioned, CF Investments has been in real estate since 1985. Our current focus is on pursuit of redevelopment opportunities and residential mixed-use projects with over $180 million of projects that are complete or under construction. Here we have a quick summary of some recent projects over the last couple of years that we've constructed. Mainly, our main focus is east side of Madison suburbs such as Sun Prairie and of course Cottage Grove. So a quick overview of our proposal. So we're proposing a mixed-use development comprised of a mix of market rate apartment units, affordable condominiums, and office retail space. The mixed-use building will feature a 4-story internal parking structure, much like the mixed-use building in phase 1 of Cottage Grove Commons. That building consists of 115 residential units and 2,700 square feet of commercial. Our proposal also includes 2 33-unit apartments with underground parking, 10-unit townhome with underground parking, and then 78 affordable condominiums that are a mix of 3-story garden style with underground parking and 8-unit townhome style with underground parking. The proposal includes 538 on-site parking stalls. Total projected value of the proposal is over $50 million. And here we have on the right, you see a aerial view showing the location in Cottage Grove here. So you can see up on the corner, we have the intersection of Gaston and Highway N. To the north of the red outlined subject area here is phase 1 of Cottage Grove Commons, and phase 2, which we are proposing, encompasses the area boxed in red. On the left, you see our site plan. So one big component of this project is North Windsor Ave. Will be continued all the way through north to south to meet up with North Windsor Ave, where it's currently stubbed to the south. Limestone Pass will also be continued through east to west, lining up with Limestone Pass on the east side of Highway N. As you see starting at the top left, northwest of the site plan, we have 3 more 8-unit condominiums with underground parking, which are identical to the 4 that are currently under construction, the first phase of Cottage Grove Commons. To the right here, the focal point of the development is another mixed-use Texas wrap style apartment with the 4-story parking internal. To the left here, we're continuing with more condos. This will be 2 27-unit condominium flats with elevators and underground parking. And then continuing to the south, we have a 10-unit building with underground parking and 2 33-unit 3 stories with underground parking and elevator. Here we have some renderings that give you a better picture of the completed project. So you see up here at the intersection, we have Culver's and Arby's Summit to the north. The building on the north side of the development here is the mixed-use building that's nearing completion, and the first 4 condominiums that are part of phase 1. We then have the retention pond and cemetery before we get to the current proposal with the 4-story mixed-use building, condominiums on the west side of the street, and 2 more 33-unit apartments. Here we have, we'll go through a few more views to give a better picture. So this is more so from the southeast corner along Highway N to give you a better idea of the frontage space. You have the quarry to the west and gives you a little better view here. Exterior materials of the building will be the equivalent of the first phase of Cottage Grove Commons with a mix of high percentage of brick, and then the remainder hardy plank lap siding and flat panel siding, which is a high-end fiber cement board siding product. All buildings pictured here will be the equivalent. Another view here from the southeast. Here we have a view from the southwest. So we have our retention pond in the southwest corner, giving a nice break from the residential and green space. And here we have a view from Highway N. So these would be the two 33-unit, 3-story buildings, and then the mixed-use building further to the north. Commercial space would be located on the first floor of the southeast corner, fronting Highway N. And here we have a view from directly from the south. So this view would be from where North Windsor Ave is currently stubbed out to the south of Cottage Grove Commons. And here we have a view from the north. So this view would be from the current end of Cottage Grove Commons Phase 1. As you can see, we continue with 3 more 8-unit townhome condominiums, mixed-use building on the left there, and then the red building there would be a 27-unit condominium. Another view here from the north. And then this would be from the west of the property, showing the parking lot, surface parking between the 2 condominium buildings. So we'll start by digging a little deeper into the 115-unit mixed-use building. So a little bit more of a zoomed-in picture here. So as you can see, it's replicating the concept of the Texas wrap style building with the 4-story parking ramp in the middle. The building will still have a large outdoor amenity space on the south side of the rooftop, much like the first building. We have garage entrance on the south as well as surface parking here. It's not pictured in this rendering, but the southeast corner of the building at the bottom right there, that'll be where the first floor commercial space will be, fronting Highway N. And then a little more info regarding the Texas wrap style building in case everyone isn't aware already. So this particular building will have the 115 residential units, 2,700 square feet of commercial, and the internal parking structure, which results in more open green space by reducing the surface parking needs for the project and keeping all the parking centralized and internal. This allows for 2+ parking stalls per unit. The building will have several different unit types with rent ranging from $1,085 to $2,400 a month. Covered parking will also be available in the parking ramp for commercial space employees to utilize, leaving the surface parking primarily for apartment guests and users of the commercial space. Positive impact on stormwater management as well by reducing the total impervious surface without the unsightly surface parking lots. Building amenities include a 1,400 plus square foot rooftop amenity, which features a patio, tables, sports courts, fire pits, and grills. Indoor amenities include lobby, office, large fitness center, and a indoor community room and lounge. Sustainability of the building, construction is to be supervised by an Energy Star consultant and it will be Energy Star certified. The building will use an advanced heat pump technology for heating and cooling, which is the most efficient available. It also results in no unsightly exterior grills on the exterior of the building, which you typically have with a standard HVAC system for most apartments. Unit finishes, be high-end finishes throughout, wood laminate floors, quartz countertops, quality cabinetry, stainless steel appliances, washer dryer included within each unit, large windows and patio doors, and each unit will have its own private deck or patio, approximate size 14 feet by 6 feet per unit. And here we have benefits versus typical apartments, which we've touched on a little. So one of the biggest benefits being ease of access for tenants. Tenants have the ability to park on the same floor as their unit, making the trip from vehicle to apartment as seamless as possible. Although the building does have an elevator, tenants rarely have a need. For example, a tenant living on the 3rd floor has the ability to drive all the way up to the 3rd floor and park right near their unit with a quick walk to their front door. With 2+ covered parking stalls available per unit, it's much higher than any other scenario with an apartment complex. Typical covered parking stall ratio is around 1 stall per unit with a standard underground parking scenario. The reduced need for surface parking also allows for much more green space and walkability of the property. And with excess space available in the ramp, it also allows for large storage areas to be implemented for tenants with varying sizes, looking at 4 foot by 4 foot on up to 6 foot by 15 foot in size to give more storage for tenants that they don't typically have in an apartment. The large rooftop amenity is approximately 225 by 60 feet, which is much larger than any other outdoor amenity that can be offered on an apartment complex. With the 11 different unit types within the building, which also includes several 2-story townhome options, the building offers many more price points and options than a typical apartment complex, which usually offers just the standard studio 1 and 2, possibly 3-bedroom units. The high efficiency HVAC system, which I touched on already, benefits to tenants include zone heating and cooling and significantly reduced utility bills. The next part of the project that we're excited to introduce is the affordable condominiums. So the condo mix will start out with 3 more identical 8-unit townhomes with underground parking, identical to the 4 buildings in phase 1 of Cottage Grove Commons. These condos have gone over exceedingly well, and at this point, there is definitely a demand for more of that style unit from what we've been seeing. We'll also be introducing 2 27-unit 3-story garden style condominiums. These would be 1-story flats with underground parking and elevator. The above mix will provide options for a wide range of lifestyles and demographics. Square foot ranges from 740 for a 1-bedroom on up to 1,550 square feet for a 3-bedroom townhome. We'll have a mix of 1, 2, 2+ den, and 3-bedroom units with prices starting around $160,000. So the 8-unit condos, which I'm sure most of you are already familiar with, rendering at the top left of the screen here. As you can see, it's basically rendering is basically identical to how the finished product turns out. Right now, we have 4 identical buildings under construction on North Windsor Ave, with the first building being recently completed, and the last 3 buildings nearing completion and looking to be fully complete by plus or minus the end of the year. Heated underground parking in each building with private entries to each unit. So each unit will have 2 parking stalls in the underground parking, as well as 2 storage units right under their unit. And with that, they have a private entry staircase right by their parking going directly to the first floor of their unit. With this, there's no need for common hallways, and it makes for as private of a living scenario as possible for a condominium building. High-end finishes as well, much like the mixed-use apartment building. These will be a mix of 2 and 3 bedrooms with prices starting in the $220,000s. And here we have the 2 27-unit condominiums, which we're real excited about. These condos will provide an affordable new construction ownership option that is currently not available in all of the Dane County market. The target market of this building will be more so towards empty nesters looking to downsize and preferring a living scenario with accessibility without stairs. Right now, there really hasn't been a garden style new construction condominium in over 10 years in the Dane County Madison market. We see a real big pent up demand for someone looking for a new affordable condominium product without stairs and the elevator. Right now, the only other options in the new construction market that are 1-story and not townhome style with stairs would be ranch duplex halves, which right now are starting at approximately $350,000 on up for 14 to 1,500 square foot units. So this will provide an option that's much more affordable and give an option with something new that caters towards people who ideally don't want to have a townhome style with stairs. So heated underground parking will include 30 parking stalls underground per building. There'll be an additional 32 surface stalls as well. High-end finishes, much like the other buildings on the project. It'll also be a wide mix of unit types with a mix of 1, 2, 2+ den, and 3-bedroom units. Prices on these starting in the $160,000 range. Another big component of the proposal is the relevance to the comp plan. So this location is planned mixed use area number 4 in Cottage Grove. A couple key items as far as this project's relevance would be North Windsor Ave and Limestone Pass will be extended fully through and connected, which is in the current comp plan. The mixed-use building is well within 200 feet of Highway N, which is required for this area. The other requirement for mixed use is 100 square feet of commercial for every 10 residential units, which this project is beyond. The project is also less than the 25 units per acre that are permitted in this area. Another requirement is high quality design along Highway N. We feel we are meeting this exceedingly with the exterior materials that consist of brick, hardy cement board, flat panel and lap siding, and large windows, tinted glass railings, and in general, high quality material from start to finish. The innovative design minimizes, of course, the unsightly surface parking. The design is also contemporary in style, which complements the surrounding areas. To quickly summarize, we feel that this project is very consistent with village discussions related to the site. The proposal maximizes the given site to its highest and best use by giving commercial frontage, addressing a demand for apartments and affordable condominiums in the area, and offering amenities that will attract high-income tenants and businesses that may not normally be residing in densely populated locations. This tenant base typically has more expendable income to support local business as well. This will help to attract new businesses to the area that require a housing product such as this to be able to recruit employees to the given location. Another key item is housing as a revenue builder for Cottage Grove by increasing the number of households and housing types that place few demands on public services. This includes housing that is both compact in form and caters to relatively affluent, childless households such as empty nesters, retirees, and young professionals. The proposed project will help to broaden the tax base significantly without the higher service needs that typically accompany a single-family housing project. And I think now we'll turn it over to Mike Calkins if he's on the other line here. He can go in a little bit more in depth on the site plan and engineering aspect of the project.
You unshare your screen there so I can share mine, Corey.
Yep.
Oh, wrong one. I want to touch base a little bit on the preliminary plat. We've completed some soil testing out in the area and have gotten, for most part, an exemption from infiltration other than, first of all, I should ask, are you seeing my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay. The small outlet between the two 8-unit buildings where my cursor is there'll be a bioretention basin there, and then there'll also be a large wet detention basin for rate control down in the southwest corner of the plat. Let's see. I'm trying to share a different screen here. You seeing the site plan now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Again, that outlet that's between the 8 units and the large detention area. A couple things I wanted to point out as it relates to the review comments that came back from MSA is there's a comment about adding sidewalk to the north side of Limestone Pass. We're struggling with the setback that's required off the cemetery and the center line of existing Limestone Pass to be able to provide that sidewalk in the normal width of lining the two center lines up. Discussions about whether this median stays or if it's an intersection. We're working with Kevin and his traffic engineer to determine what these geometrics on Highway N actually will be. We have the opportunity to introduce that sidewalk on the north side, I believe, if we're allowed to get rid of a tangent section of center line here and just go to a reverse curve to try to get some distance and separation away from the large mixed use building. So, you know, the sidewalk along Limestone, we think we can probably work with a slight variance to the center line requirements, make that work. We're not sure about the sidewalk along Highway N. I know we didn't put anything in on the phase 1 area with the idea that there was going to be a path on the east side of the road. So we'd like further discussion on that as we move into the SIP stage, rather than just have it a condition of approval with the GDP and talking through the geometrics of both Limestone and Highway N. I think that's all I wanted to make comment on as it relates to the comments we read. Craig or Corey, do you remember anything that I should be touching on here that civil engineering or surveying related?
I think that should cover it. Yeah, I think we're in good shape on that. We were just still wrestling a little with some grades here and there, but we'll have those aspects figured out down the short-term road, along with tweaking our parking a little. But again, we can have a discussion on that, and we do have some additional areas that conceivably we could add stalls if need be. So I believe that pretty much covers what we have at this point. So we're here, of course, to answer any questions. And
yeah, I'll jump in. I wanted to address the berm or the retaining wall between the project to the south and ours. Yeah, we've got the same desire to work with that layout and get rid of the big knob between the two developments, and we can reach out to Wiser Engineering and get the grades coordinated so we both can get rid of the retaining wall. Just wanted to point out that we're in agreement with that condition also.
All right, thank you. So we can start with probably just go to staff and then open it up for questions. And we do have at least one person that wants to speak from the public as well, and we'll follow that up just to, because their questions may be answered already from the presentation by CF or from the discussion from the staff. So Aaron, you want to start us off, and then Kevin?
Sure, thanks, John. I think Corey did a good job of covering the consistency with the comp plan. I agree with his assessment that he went through. And it is consistent with the changes we made to the comp plan for this area last year. So I think I can skip to my conditions. There's actually 2 approvals we'll be considering tonight. The first one, the general development plan. The second, the preliminary plat. The number of lots they're creating, combined with the lots created in the first phase, because they all came from the same original lot, exceeds what you can do with the CSM. So they have to do it as a plat, which is a 2-step process: preliminary this month and final next month or whenever they bring it in. And as you know, the PUD process also a 2-step process. So this is the first step of that as well. So as far as the general development plan, we would recommend approval with conditions. The first one, just a reminder that any signage requires a sign permit. Second, that the village would agree to the following variations from the most comparable zoning district, which would be MR12. The higher density, which is higher than the MR12, but as Corey pointed out, and as I think I noted in the staff report, it is consistent with the comp plan, which allowed up to 25, as long as there was a mixed use component. We'd allow the building heights up to 45 feet. And obviously the higher number of units per building, because that's capped at 8 right now. We discussed the sidewalk. It sounds like that's kind of in discussion with, and somewhat dependent on how things resolve with the intersection at Limestone. Craig mentioned kind of tinkering with the parking on site, but that was the fourth condition, is verifying the fourth and fifth conditions are basically related to that. Verifying the breakdown of the 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units so we can calculate the exact amount. And those numbers may get tweaked too before we get to the PIP. That'll sometimes happen. And then, yeah, just encouraging them to look for opportunities to add parking on the site. The concept landscaping plan that was provided appears to be adequate and meet the ordinance. We just want the final version of that, as things may shift around between now and the PIP. We would also want a photometric and the exterior lighting details at that point. We'd ask them to run this by the Cottage Grove Fire Department so they can verify their equipment access. And then just a reminder about park fees that would be assessed for these units. And if possible, they may want to consider providing some sort of on-site green space. I think the nearest park is actually over by the school, which is a little bit of a distance. As Craig and Corey described, these types of units are probably not going to have tons of kids in them, but there may be some, so maybe some sort of play area. I think these things can kind of be resolved as they go through the details of the landscaping plan. Then as far as the preliminary plat, just a couple of details that need to be shown on the drawing that aren't, but as far as the actual layout of the plat, that's fine. I think Kevin had some comments as well.
All right, thanks, Aaron. Kevin?
All right. I think Mike hit, between Mike and Aaron, I think they hit most of the comments that I had on here. In general, they're following street widths that are basically consistent with the phase 1, Cottage Grove Commons phase 1 that was completed and everything. My comment along County N was more to basically about the sidewalk on N was basically being consistent. That was a report as well for the moving out facility and everything. So and when I was talking about traffic, the thought was that with Culver's and some of the restaurants down there, that people are going to, I guess, kind of migrate that direction possibly from these buildings and to have a place to at least walk and or cross. And in talking with traffic for this intersection, we think that initially anyway, that we think that this might be better pretty much possibly with some acceleration, deceleration lanes, which Mike and I have had some correspondence with, but to leave similar to a right in and right out and not have it as a full intersection with the lights already at school and at Gaston. It just creates a little bit more of a conflict if that became a full intersection right there. As Mike mentioned, I just kind of mentioned the coordination between them and moving out with that knob. And I did look at the plans for the water main that runs through there, and the water main was put in deeper. So it is, if that knob were to be gone, it still should be deep enough there that we don't have to worry about relocating anything there. I had a couple comments that will be more just strictly utility, just verifications as they continue up Windsor Avenue. And I had some conversation with Mike just via email, and one of the comments we recommend is at least doing not a full-blown traffic study, but we've got equipment that we can basically monitor the existing traffic at Gaston and N intersection as well as School and N intersection. Basically get the existing counts that are there right now and look at if they're, with these additional volume of trips that would be added per day, if there's, any kind of improvements that are needed or how those intersections function. There hasn't been counts or anything done at the Gaston Road intersection since we don't have any counts of that. And that was back when that light went in, which is when Johnson Health Tech went in. So, or in that vicinity. So there's been a lot of development in that area since then. So just to kind of see how that intersection is actually functioning. So Mike was, I think, verifying if they wanted us to go ahead and do that. But that would be something we'd recommend just so that we can kind of provide better guidance as to any intersection things that need to be done, and as well as the connection of Limestone Pass to County N. Mike kind of addressed the stormwater comments. We really didn't have any comments. Mike's just been kind of sharing information with us and getting opinions from Eric Thompson at MSA as well as the DNR as they're moving forward with that. And then in all reality, a lot of the preliminary plat comments are just some items that are supposed to be shown on the preliminary plat. Most of them are pretty minor, and some of them are actually, a lot of times they don't include plans that come with them. So a lot of, the existing buildings, they're all supposed to be technically shown on the preliminary plat, but they did submit plans that show all the buildings and everything on there as well. So a lot of the stuff is, if you correlate between the two, it's all the information is there as well. But I think those were basically my comments that I had.
All right, thanks, Kevin. I think we'll move then to, unless there's some initial questions from commission members, we'll move to public comment since this is the public hearing portion of this. And I know Joe Bauer had indicated that this particular item he wanted to speak on. Joe, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here. John, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Thank you for being heard. I'd like to speak in favor of the Cottage Grove Commons Phase 2 project. I'd like to say that the Cottage Grove Commons Phase 1 buildings look great. Apparently other people think so too, judging from how quickly the condos are selling and how quickly the apartments are renting. Drawings for Phase 2 buildings look equally great. So that's the basic reason I'm in favor. On the extension of North Windsor to Gaston Road, I think that'll greatly improve the traffic load on Highway N between School Road and Gaston Road. The third item might be for Mike Calkins on sheet G102, print 102, G102, which lists the various properties around your project. We are project number 14, Jeffrey Bowers and Joseph Bowers. Our address is listed as 4618 County Highway N. It should be 4600. They've got the address the same as Graham's garage. So if you could change that 4618 to 4600, that would provide a accurate address for us. Fourth, the village engineer recommended a traffic study for the intersections. Given that the Limestone Pass intersection is already near where Highway N and two southbounds merge into one, I believe this intersection warrants special review attention. Since I believe the traffic hazard may already exist on Highway N where the two lanes southbound merge into one. The existing traffic hazard would only be amplified with the increased amount of traffic from the Cottage Grove Commons and also Glen Grove apartments. Traffic hazard I'm talking about occurs when vehicles in the two southbound lanes are racing to get in front of each other so they can get in the lead when the two lanes merge into one. I've seen this a number of times. Evidence of this hazard is a traffic accident that occurred a few months ago. A southbound Highway N driver lost control of their vehicle shortly after where the two lanes merge into one, crossed over into the northbound lane, drove into our driveway at a high rate of speed. And I don't know if they were racing or just what the situation was, but they came to a rest on a large tree on our lawn. The vehicle was severely damaged. The driver was injured and was ambulanced away to the hospital. Village of Cottage Grove Police lead responding officer Matthew O'Brien issued case number, and I'll give you the number here, 20-272745 to document the accident. I haven't looked at that particular document, but it is available from the police department. Assertion this traffic hazard would be to approve highway N southbound to 2 lanes from Limestone Pass, and this could be incorporated in, whatever traffic study part you're going to review, from Limestone Pass down to the existing School Road westbound turnoff lane. I don't believe that it'd be fair to expect CF Investments to bear the complete cost of something like this, but maybe some type of cost agreement could be negotiated with CF Investments moving out, Village, Cottage Grove, Dane County. We'll probably need a lane, 2 lanes there, eventually. So, yeah, I'd like to request that, my comments on the traffic hazard and also the police case 20-272745 be taken into account in the traffic study recommended by the village engineer. Also, I might just add that when we are going southbound on Highway N and turning into our driveway, it's only 1 lane. That's after the merger, and it's only 1 lane there. Cars are not willing, our vehicles are not willing to wait behind us to turn in. They go off onto the bit of the shoulder, and sometimes they come like within a couple feet of us. You've got gravel trucks, semis, cars, all kinds of vehicles. It's a little bit of a hazard for us. And again, with more traffic, there'll be more cars going by us. So I would appreciate a close look when you do your review and take the police report, maybe even police superintendent, Dan Labor, might have a view on the hazard for this also. So those are my comments. Like I say, I'm in favor of the project, and thank you for being heard.
All right, thanks, Joe. Are there any other members of the public that would want to speak on this particular agenda item? All right. So at that point, then we'll close the public hearing portion of this and move into the next item, and certainly questions and so forth from commission members. And that item is the first portion of this, which is to discuss and consider the proposed general development plan from CF Investments for Cottage Grove Commons Phase 2 to be located on the south of Cottage Grove Commons Phase 1 on parcel 0711-042-9515-1.
I have some questions, John. Alex here.
All right, please.
Oh, okay. Thank you for presenting today. I appreciate all the effort and the graphics. I think if anything, we've gotten better graphics from the old cardboard things we would get. A couple questions here. Can you talk a little bit more about affordable? You mentioned affordable. You showed some prices. How do you use that word affordable in your project to have some meaning and value?
So the condominiums in this project, I guess if we start with the first phase, which we touted as affordable as well. Right now, it's by far the most affordable condominiums in the Dane, new construction condominiums in the Dane County market. Really, the next closest in the Madison area right now is in the low 300,000 range. And shooting up pretty steeply from there. Our condominiums in the 8-unit buildings that are currently under construction range from $220,000 to $245,000 for 2 and 3 bedroom units. These are 14 to 1,550 square feet units, so real good size, 2.5 bathroom, 2 underground parking stalls per unit. The 27-unit 3-story flats that we're proposing as part of this phase as well. Those will be ranging from the 160,000 range on up to the 240,000 range for a 3-bedroom, much like the 8-unit condominium. So again, we'd be introducing a total of let's see here, well over 60 brand new condominiums to the Dane County market that has a very, very big pent-up demand for affordability in the new construction area, especially when you're looking at even small single-family homes starting 300,000 on up right now.
Okay, thank you. Another question, and Aaron pointed out some of this stuff too, like recreation areas, common areas. I think the first phase had that rooftop. You showed the rooftop on the second phase. It's something that did strike me. Also, is sort of common areas, outdoor amenities for residents. They don't have yards, right? As a homeowner might. What other some of the things that you might be thinking you might be able to incorporate, or is there something we didn't see in the presentation, or something that you're contemplating?
So we're still working out grades right now, and that will determine where we'll ultimately have our green space. Additionally, the parking, of course, if we're adding any additional parking, that would affect how much green space we have for recreation areas. At a minimum, what we're looking at doing is adding additional outdoor amenity to the northern area of this second phase and southern area of the first phase. We initially were looking at a recreation area there, but again, through the process here, through the process, we'll have all this determined by the submittal of the PIP. But the hope is that we'll be able to add a swimming pool area and just in general increase the outdoor amenity in one specific location that the whole community of Cottage Grove Commons can access and utilize. Ideally, we're looking for an additional amenity down to the south end, but if not, we have contingency plans for the share between us.
So the current outdoor amenity area, which you can kind of see at the top center of the site there. So we have a little surface parking lot, and then the area above the outlot is the outdoor amenity space with, at minimum, grills, fire pits, and a gazebo area, but also potential future pool. The outlot directly to the south of that is where we have or to the south of first phase there is where we have our retention pond for phase one, which has a large walking path around it with a significant amount of green space. So that combined with the outdoor amenity area there is about 1.5 acres of green space. And in addition to that, the southwest corner of phase two proposal here, we have an additional retention pond in that outlet, but also additional space for outdoor amenity area. And that's one of the areas that, depending on exactly how the grades work out with this site having a lot of grade changes, it'll dictate to what exactly we'll be putting there as far as outdoor amenity space.
Okay, thank you. A couple more here. What is your anticipation for the association fee? I think is what they call it.
For the condominiums?
Yeah, the maintenance. What's that look like?
So we're at $170 a month for the 8-unit townhomes, and that'll continue for the 3 in this phase. That $170 a month includes the typical condo fees for lawn care, snow removal, building insurance, common maintenance, and reserve fund. It also includes heating and underground parking and water and sewer bill, which is a big plus as well versus a lot of condos. So the condo fees are also much more affordable comparatively to what's out there with existing condos as well. The 3-story, 27-unit buildings will be somewhere in that range as well, possibly lower than that.
Okay. And maybe I missed it. The duration of the project?
Right now, we're looking at time frame wise, we'd be shooting to have a large portion of the development completed by the end of next year. So with that, it would be the full mixed use building and at least one of the 27-unit condos and the 8-unit townhomes, with the remaining buildings finishing up into the following year.
Okay. One more for you, and then I got one for Aaron. Aaron, get ready. If this is a phase 2 you're talking about, phase 1 was to the north, and that's all moving along. This is phase 2. If you had the land to the south, would you do a phase 3?
I mean, we're definitely like the Cottage Grove area, and definitely interested in development possibilities down the long term in Cottage Grove. So we keep our options open, and would definitely be taking a look at any options in the area.
Okay. Okay, Aaron, process question. Teeing you up here. So the sidewalk came up, and it sounds like they're working on the sidewalk. Typically, when we make a motion, it would be motion to approve with the staff conditions. Knowing that number 3 is a bit in flight, is there a process around that? Do we try to exclude 3? Do we amend your 3 to say continue to work on the process, or what's your proposal on that?
I think changing it to say continue to work on it would be fine. I mean, essentially they're going to bring something back in the PIP, and that's going to be what you're approving in the end. This is more guidance for them for the putting that PIP together. So
yeah, the engineer report was also thorough, but didn't really have conditions. It just had comments as well. So okay, thank you, John. Thank you. I think I'm good for now.
All right, thanks, Alex. Questions from other commission members?
I have a question about the commercial space. Just wondering how that's going to be divided out, if they're bigger spaces, smaller office spaces, and then what you're looking at for like leasing rates.
So we always like to leave it somewhat flexible as far as how it can be divided. So really, we're leaving open for full flexibility on that, the way we set up the varying walls. So more than likely, we'd be looking in the range of 1,000 per tenant to the full 3,000 for one given tenant. So it'd be anywhere from 1 to 3 users. We're looking at more so office retail as far as anything food related. Restaurant wouldn't really be a good fit as far as the need for parking, but something like a coffee shop is generally a real good fit for a development like this as well.
And any idea on leasing rates, where you're going to follow there?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Oh, leasing rates?
Oh, yeah, so leasing rates will be in the $18 to $22 a square foot range.
Thank you.
Other questions from commission members?
I don't think we talked about the 10-unit building. Is that going to be just strictly a rental?
So we're not locking in one way or another on that. So we feel that there should definitely be a demand for that as condo, but we'd already have 7 8-unit buildings of the identical product. Our current thoughts are it'd be real well suited as rental to be a complement to the amount of condo flat units we have on the property. The mixed-use building does have 22-story townhome units included in that building, but you do see a lot of people that like living in a little smaller size building than the mixed-use building. So we definitely see a good demand both ways on that, and haven't made a firm decision condo versus rental.
Other questions for commission members?
I have one as far as the multifamily building. Where is the entrance to get into the inside parking?
So the entrance will be on the south side, directly in the middle. So it'll be off of Limestone and North Windsor Ave, which will be nice for traffic flow. The other item on that is we have the front entrance to the building there as well, and we'll have our first floor community area directly in the middle of the first floor, as well as the elevator going up to the fourth floor amenity. And the thinking with that, with those 33-unit rental buildings to the south there, the buildings that are rental versus condo, we would be giving access to our tenants in those buildings, giving them FOB access to the fitness center and rooftop amenity in the mixed-use building.
Okay. And then I had a question about the sidewalk as well. We aren't, or are we? Are we looking at putting the sidewalk on N and to the east of the multifamily building, but on the west side? So where the I think that's little circle retaining wall, is that what that is there currently? Just bring that up because the cemetery, like any sidewalk would then go to the cemetery, and I don't know that that's like necessary. Yeah, right in that area where your cursor is.
Yeah, and that was part of our, I can certainly understand if there's development south here and this, having some sidewalk connection to the Limestone Pass, and if there's a safe way to get everybody over to the, what we understood part of phase one was the 10-foot path here, but going north of Limestone with a sidewalk along the west side of, and was where I was looking to have further discussions with the staff and Kevin's group. So
yeah, okay, I agree with that because then we run into the sidewalk is going right to the cemetery that currently doesn't really have any pedestrian traffic to it. Just looks like it has the little driveway there for vehicles, and maybe that's the best way to keep it more in solitude rather than having access for pedestrians. So maybe we could have some sort of crosswalk at Limestone Pass across N. I don't know. I know it's kind of busy there, but with all the new housing, maybe the speed limit gets reduced then at that point. Or so I'm also interested in the traffic study as was previously brought up. And maybe that's something that could be looked at as well with that.
So going off of what you said, Melissa, is there a sidewalk in phase one? Is there?
There is not fronting N in phase one. There is sidewalk on both sides of North Windsor Ave and the south side of Gaston Road, going down to the intersection of Gaston N, but the sidewalk was not continued south along N And I think the reasoning ended up being because of the cemetery there.
Yeah, that's kind of our discussion in general. Beyond that, of course, we do have that widened pedestrian access on the east side. Now, again, it is, like we're kind of talking about, getting people over there. That's the question. So
does it make sense to have a sidewalk there that would, because there is a business on the other side of Gaston Road. It's a coffee shop. Would it make sense to have a sidewalk there where you could safely walk to the coffee shop if you wanted?
Well, internally, I guess, when you look at our development, they could go down North Windsor to the coffee shop. A little longer, depending on where they're coming from, but actually the same distance or less if it's a building's on the west side of the road, I guess.
Yep. Okay.
So that is another, pathway that they could use, along with, of course, crossing then to the other side at Gaston. And you look at the bulk of our units, and it is, limestone path going north. And then, how much are we gaining by having those two paths versus just one? But yeah, we're still open for discussion.
Other questions or comments from commission members?
I have one.
Okay, Fred.
In the first presentation, I noticed what appeared to be water when you were showing a view of all of the buildings. Was that actually a retention pond?
Yeah, and I don't even know if we're going to have a wet pond there now, Mike. Do you know, or it's been changing daily? It's been a challenge here as far as dealing with the stormwater. So, Mike,
Yeah.
Could talk to that.
Yeah, where I'm circling now, all lot one will be a wet detention basin.
Okay.
And then, just because I'm having a hard time following this, there will be no left turn as presented right now off of N into the development, correct?
Based on
If you're heading north on N, there would be you can't turn left there.
Based on initial comments with staff from MSA or the traffic engineer, without seeing, that's why he wants to get the traffic counts out here too, is
Right.
to see how the intersections function. But introducing more movements between these two signals was something that initially was not recommended, or his gut feeling on it was, let's leave it as a right in, right out for both directions and focus the left turn options or the ability to get from N back into here at the two signals.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I just wanted to make sure I was following.
Yep.
Thank you.
Other questions from commission members? I guess for Corey and Greg, I'm curious just as far as how has the first phase been embraced by either the folks acquiring the condos or renters? I have a feeling I know the answer based on you guys being here with phase two. I was curious.
I anticipate another year myself. So,
yeah, to this point here, every single unit in the condos as well as the mixed-use building has been under lease or under contract prior to completion of the given unit. Right now, in the mixed-use building, we're sitting at 55 units completed and occupied, with another 15 coming on the first of the month. And right now we're looking at our final phase leasing for December and January completions and move-ins. The condos, the first building is recently completed and fully occupied. And we're on pace to have all 4 buildings, all units fully sold in a pretty timely manner here with the way it's going. So we definitely do see a real good demand for continuing with products like this. And just in general, we've just seen great reaction from buyers and renters as far as being excited about this type of product in Cottage Grove. We're seeing a lot of people that have either lived in Cottage Grove in the past or have family in Cottage Grove that desire a unit, a housing type like this. And this has brought them back to the Cottage Grove area, which we feel is a very good complement to Cottage Grove. We don't feel we're really competing with existing housing in Cottage Grove. It's more so providing a product that is meeting a pent-up demand for people that desire to live in Cottage Grove right now.
All right, thank you. Any other questions or comments from commission members? This is a discuss and consider any consideration for a motion.
John, I'll make a motion to approve the proposed general development plan from CF Investments for Cottage Grove Commons Phase 2 to be located south of Cottage Grove Commons Phase 1 on parcel number 0711104295151 with the staff conditions and comments with the amendment for number 3 that they continue to work on a proper plan for sidewalks on Limestone Pass and Highway N.
Second.
All right, we have a motion second then. Thanks, Alex and Fred. Any further discussion? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Anybody abstain? Motion carries. All right, item 9 then is discuss and consider the proposed preliminary plat from CF Investments for the Cottage Grove Commons Phase 2 to be located in the south of Cottage Grove Commons Phase 1 on parcel 0711-042-9515-1.
I think staff already went through the conditions. I'll make a proposal to approve the proposed preliminary plat from CF Investments for Cottage Grove Commons Phase 2. The whole thing here to be located south of Cottage Grove Commons Phase 1 on parcel number 0711042951551 with staff conditions.
Second.
All right, motion second again. Any further discussion? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Anybody oppose? Anybody abstain? Motion carries. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
So, let Mike stop sharing. There we go. We'll move on to item 10 is to discuss and consider a proposed precise implementation plan from moving out for the Glen Grove Apartments to be located on parcels 0711-043-006-6, 0711-043-0017-3, and 0711-043-0028-0. I know we had Joe Bowers did want to speak on this, so we probably want to let him jump in so that I remember to do that. So Joe, I think you're still on.
Yes, I'm still here at, John, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. And again, you can just state your address real quick, and then again, keep it to the 3 minutes, please.
Yes, Joe Bowers, village resident, 143 East Reynolds Street. And I'm here with my brother, Jeff Bowers. He's at 4600 County Road N, resident of the town, and together we both own the property at 4600 County Road N. Yes, thank you, John. I would like to speak in favor of the Glen Grove Apartments. At the previous Plan Commission meeting, I requested more detail on the apartment site lighting. Lighting that I saw in lighting information in Appendix C is still of a general nature with no indication of where each light design will be located. There's 3 different lights shown there. I'm wondering if the moving out engineer could provide some detail now verbally. I just was more interested in general information, and also provide some indication of how much bright light would be noticeable on our property. I guess those 3 different lights would be arranged in different places, and based on the UW Health development that's just to the south of us, the brightest lights are in the parking lot. And per a conversation with village planner Aaron Ruth some time ago, the engineer there set up the lights so that their parking lot is well illuminated. It's very bright in the parking lot, but when you go to the boundary of our property and UW Health, the light just stops. It's like a curtain. So I would imagine there would be something similar on the Glen Grove apartments, but I don't know, since there was not enough detail to really tell. So just wondering if you, in your discussion phase, if someone could provide a little more detail on the lighting and how bright it would be on our property, and because we're just on the other side, just to the east on Highway N of the Glen Grove, although the apartment building would kind of screen the parking lot and would provide some screening in terms of the bright lights in the parking lot. But just interested if somebody could provide a little more detail. Thank you for being heard. That's all I have on that one.
All right, thanks, Joe. All right. So we have the moving out folks here, as well as I think some of your team. So Megan, I'll turn it over to you, I guess.
All right. So it's good to see everyone again. I have kind of my presentation from Village Board, but you guys have heard my spiel a few times. So I'll just keep it handy in case I need to pull it up to address specific questions or comments that come up. And then I'll turn it over to Andy at JLA to present more specifically on the PIP submittal.
Okay. Thank you, Megan. My name is Andy Chitwood. I'm a project manager with JLA Architects working on this project specifically. Actually, before I was just going to give a brief overview of the project in case there's anybody new who has not seen it. I was going to ask Wade Wise, our civil engineer, is on the line as well. And I was going to ask Wade if he had any updates or if he is on the phone or not. Wade? He may not. Nope, there he is.
Yeah, I'm here, Andy.
Yeah, do you have anything you can chime in? I know you've been working with MSA on both the storm sewer, stormwater management, and as
sure.
mentioned.
Yeah, I can give a brief overview as it relates to the site design. Mm-hmm. We have been working behind the scenes with MSA. The unique part of this project is kind of a change in use for these 3 lots has triggered some additional stormwater management measures that'll make the infrastructure design and the stormwater design more robust. If I can share my screen, I don't know if you can see that or.
Yep.
We can see it.
Okay, so generally, this graphic illustrates kind of what's going on as it relates to stormwater. Specifically, I'll work my way from south to north. Stormwater is always the big buzz one. So in this application, on the very south side of the property, we have a large bioretention basin. The intent in this basin is to provide both rate control as well as infiltration back to the groundwater in accordance with requirements. Recently, we've just obtained some test pit results there showing there are some soils conducive to infiltration, so we're going to take advantage of that and meet the intent of the ordinance and provide for that in this location. Working our way north, there's a conveyance system that connects to an underground storage facility. Basically, think of large pipes that are located underneath the parking lot in these 2 locations. These pipes will allow for water to be collected both from the surface runoff from the pavement, as well as the building that will dump into these pipes, providing us the rate control or the slowdown that we need for stormwater before discharging into the infiltration or bioretention basin on the south side. That's really, in a nutshell, the focus of the stormwater. And again, we're working hand in hand with MSA, ultimately a connection to a storm sewer that was stubbed up for us in this southwest corner. The grading design with this property, we are aware of the project proposal that was just presented prior to us on the agenda. We do agree as well. There is an opportunity here to eliminate a otherwise rather large retaining wall. The retaining wall would be up to 8 feet here. The water main, assuming we need to look closer, but from my understanding, is buried at a depth that allowed this retaining wall to go away. Certainly a bonus for both properties and a better design as opposed to a hump over a water main in this location. Other than that, a long building that generally the site flows from northeast to southwest, so there is some exposure down in this part. We are in the process right now, I should say, and we'll provide details to the village here shortly as it relates to how this screening and landscaping and bioretention basin work together with the building. With that, we will also provide, ordinance-specific, more detailed and final landscape plan. And to the Joe's comment before about lighting, that is also being worked on as a final package. Happy to provide that to whomever might be interested. But the idea would be to, fully shielded lighting that would terminally put candles at the property lines, site parking lighting, perhaps some wall pack monuments or lighting along the building. Again, very much in the middle of that detail. Happy to provide that update as we finalize that in the coming days as well. So that's a brief overview on the site. I'll turn it back over to Andy. At any time, I'm happy to answer any questions as related to civil engineering.
Thanks, Wade. All right, so now, share my screen. I'm not sure you're seeing the correct screen. Let's try this again. This works better when, there we go. So do you see the aerial view on this, everyone?
Yep.
Ever got that?
The one that's from southwest.
Yeah, so this is just an aerial view from the southwest of the project, bordered by Highway N on the east, Windsor Road on the west, School Road on the south. This is the original building with the original colors in it, which I wanted to show so that you can see how they've changed. It's just to the north of the gas station located there. I'm not sure if that's a BP or a Quick Trip yet. Overall site plan shows one of the bioretention pond that Wade had mentioned on the south side of the building. We've penciled in the sidewalk that we're working with the village on to make sure we have on along County Highway N. In the middle of our building, what Moving Out is providing are some amenity spaces for the tenants to use. These will include just an open play area, a playground area, a gathering area for the residents, to use as a get together. As you'll see in one of the perspectives, these surrounding that play area are meant to be community gardens for use by the tenants. This page down here again, it's 3 stories, 3-story building, 100 units. You got the play area again in the center. It's over level of underground parking. My PDF viewer is a little slow this time of night. Within the lower level, we'll have some bicycle parking, 2 types, wall hung, and some stalls, a little bit larger stalls for the tenants. We have 2 entrances to the lower level, so it doesn't get so congested. We also have 2 refuse areas, both located inside the building, so they're not clogging up the exterior. And with 2 of them, it gives it keeps it a little spread out. It doesn't make such a mess. The first floor, again, has not changed. It we'll have a community room in this area. Around here, to the left of that is a fitness center. There's an on-site leasing office, in addition to the typical mail room and postal services. I wanted to show one elevation real quick to show you how we changed the colors. There was we had quite a bit of feedback both at the last planning commission meeting from planning commission members, members of the public, and from board of trustees. So we tried to tone down the building a little bit and ended up with 3 essential colors of siding. The siding, again, is the fiber cement product, the hardy plank and the hardy panels, along with a lighter colored cream brick. You have a gray siding. The gray is the overlap siding, and then the brown part it will be a wood grain. It's meant to give the impression of a natural wood product. It's a panel. Again, hardy plank, and then you have the kind of a slate blue accent color throughout. And if you look at waiting for my blue beam to come up here. You can see again how it changes the look of the building, I think, quite a bit by getting rid of the bold accent colors that we had. It pulls it together a little bit, yet it still gives you a little bit of the separate building look that it's intended, going from the gray to the wood grain. You can see some of the balconies and patios were allowed. This is the retaining wall that it looks like we'll be fortunate enough to make go away in working with the project to the north. And then just looking down the project in general, you can see it's a little bit more subdued colors. You have this brown in here in the middle, I think pops out, gives it that look of separate buildings, alternating with the gray, full height brick, and then the slate blue accent colors that kind of fill in. So we tried to work with the village and with Megan to get something that would look a little bit better. That would be a little bit more acceptable to so that's just a brief overview. If anybody wants me to go into a little bit more detail on it, I can. So, Megan, did you want to add anything else, or?
No, I think you covered it. I think I like this shot because it shows a little bit more of the texture on that, on what comes across as brown, just on some of the pictures, to see that wood grain in that siding there. And we did hear, we did take the feedback on some of the colors, and I think we ended up with a much more classic look here that will look good for a longer period of time. And colors are always kind of tough to convey over electronic submittals too, but I do think this will be a much cleaner finish to it all. Generally speaking, the layout of the floor plans has remained the same as what we shared previously. So the greatest changes that would have seen since we last spoke would have been these exteriors and then greater understanding of what our stormwater situation looked like.
And I would echo Wade's comments as well with the lighting. The package that we turned in was meant to represent similar stuff, similar submittals that we've made on other projects with the same concerns that Mr. Bowers has and has been implemented similar to UW Health to the north, utilizing the type of fixtures that we had in there. With that still being worked on and subject to approval by the village, I just wanted to represent something that will, I think, give you what fits within your requirements.
All right. We can probably shift over then to staff comments. So we'll start with Aaron, and then we'll get to Kevin, engineering, and then we'll get to commission members as well.
Yep, thanks, John. So like the last project, there's also 2 agenda items for this project as well. The first being the precise implementation plan, which is the second step in the planned unit development approval process. And then the next agenda item would be certified survey map, simply combining the 3 current parcels into one. Again, recommend approval of the precise implementation plan with the conditions noted in the staff report, which are pretty similar to what we had for the GDP. The main difference, as the design team mentioned, sounds like they're getting pretty close on the stormwater design, and when they have that, they can finalize the landscaping plan and we'll sign off on that. But the concept presented is certainly consistent with our ordinance. They also had a note about possible conflict with the retaining wall, but it sounds like the retaining wall will be going away, so that's not an issue. As discussed, they will have to provide the photometric study showing the light levels on the site. They do have to meet our ordinance, which calls for no light bleeding off the property. The fixtures that they presented look like they are consistent with our ordinance. And then just a note on aligning the sidewalk properly with the projects on both sides. And then as far as the CSM, there was just one condition to note the zoning of the subject parcel and the properties around it. Kevin, if you want to touch on your report.
Sure. Thanks, Aaron. In general, I think Wade covered basically most of my comments. My comments are pretty general in nature. Most of the stuff that was submitted was pretty much the same that was submitted with the GDP originally. It sounds like they were doing the test pits to figure out the stormwater and everything. So, we're going to need a detailed site plan and the stormwater calculations and everything to sign off on, basically. But as Wade mentioned, we've been touching base with them on questions throughout. So nothing came across as any alarming or anything like that. We'll need to sign off and see the final drawings once they're done. So otherwise, I guess specifically we talked about like I said, the site details. And Wade had mentioned most of the sites plan to be internally drained to the underground storage. And we talked about the retaining wall between the 2 sites as well. So in general, just the site details, stormwater and everything needs to be submitted for approval. And then my only comment on the CSM was normally, so along the previous lot lines, there were existing easements for utilities. And normally, since those will be running through the building and everything now, normally those need to be vacated as well. And those are usually done separately, not with the CSM. They're separate documents. They can release them with the utilities. So that was my only real comments.
All right. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Aaron. Then I will ask commission members if they have any questions or comments.
Some comments, John, I guess.
All right.
Start it off. I guess I'm a little disappointed, John. I'm going to talk to you for a second here. I guess a little disappointed in the way this was presented to the village board meeting on, I think it was the 29th. I don't know the date. I forget the date. This did go through planning commission. It was recommendation for deny the general development plan, which was approved, which is fine. But in your preamble to the board, kind of announcing what was going on, really it felt like you were leading everybody to believe that it was approved, it was voted on, but it was a recommendation to be somewhere else, and some of the other comments that we had, the large building, no commercial, and these other types of things. It was never really discussed in open, the recommendation of denying the general development plan. What I'm not seeing today is any big change in the plan. Still a large building, right along end. And again, no commercial, which is something we've been really striving for in Cottage Grove as well. So I don't know if there's anything better we can do when we present these things to the board for the actual vote to ensure that they understand the direction that Planning Commission is passing on up to the board. So that's all I have. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Alex. Other comments from commission members? Or questions?
I'd like to see more green space. I think it's an awful big building in a small area.
All right, thanks, Fred.
I'm going to come back to the commercial aspect of it too. Just looking at the numbers based on the Cottage Grove Commons phases 1 and 2, we're looking at roughly 375 units, just doing the math from the what was on the screen. So depending on how many people live in each unit, we're looking at maybe 750 to 1,100, 1,200 people in that Cottage Grove Commons area. Seems like a lot of people, where that would possibly open up those 3 parcels for more commercial development, which is what it's planned for. It just seems like we're moving all these commercials over to residential and not leaving any room for commercial. So we're gonna have all these people and nowhere to put businesses. So that was my major, I guess, objection to converting that from commercial to residential. So with the addition of the moving out, with their 100 units, that could be another 200 to 300 people. So now we're looking at 1,000 to 1,500 possible additional, and losing 3 spaces of commercial. So that was my thought on it. So thank you.
Thanks, Kim. Other comments from commission members?
I'll just note that at the last plan commission, the vote, the motion was to not approve this in this site. That's what the motion was. It wasn't a motion for moving out to have commercial space, or a motion to approve with commercial space, or a motion to approve them coming back with 2 buildings. It was just a motion for them to not be in this location. So I don't think it's necessarily fair to now moving out saying, well, you need to have commercial space, because that's not what the previous motion was either. We also looked at businesses in this location. A concern was brought up about traffic. Businesses in this location would cause a lot more traffic than an apartment complex. There is some concern for there to be office retail space available at this point, because that's not what the market is really looking for currently. So I don't, like, I think in the future, other projects, we can look for businesses to have that. But we're just looking at this project now, what they're presenting to us, based on the previous approval by the village board. And yes, building these apartments brings more residents to our community, which will bring more businesses too, because it'll have a clientele available. We might meet thresholds that we don't currently with our population. We have all of TID 10 that's north of the interstate. So there are places for businesses to go. There's also, I think, 15 acres left in the Commerce Park, right on Highway N. There's 2 parcels that haven't been developed yet that are right across from CF Investments' proposed apartments, which all these apartments will make those lots more desirable. So I think this is a good project, as I did previously, and it fits in nicely in that location. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Melissa. Other comments or questions from commission members? All right, this is a discuss and consider. The first one and second one. Any consideration there?
I'll make the motion to approve the precise implementation plan for moving out for Glen Grove Apartments to be located on parcels 0711-043-0006-6, 0711-043-00173, and 0711-043-00280.
With conditions?
Yes, I always forget the conditions.
That's all right.
Thank you.
We got a motion. Is there a second? I'll second the motion then. Any further discussion? All right, having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
Aye. Nay. Yeah.
Anybody abstain?
I'm abstaining, John.
All right, thank you, Kyle. All right, the motion is denied.
John, can I just ask a question? Did Kim vote no on that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
No, yes, no, yes. Thanks, Lisa. I also saw the nodding of the head too. All right, then we have a second item here. Discuss and consider the certified survey map from moving out to combine parcels 0711-043-006-6, 0711-043-0017-3, and 0711-043-0028-0 into one parcel.
I'll make a motion to approve the certified survey map for moving out to combine those 3 parcels into one parcel.
With conditions? Because there are a couple.
Yes, I was just looking to see if there were. Thank you. Yes, with conditions.
All right, and I'll second that. Any further discussion on this item? All right. All those in favor then?
Aye.
Aye. All those that oppose?
Nay.
Nay.
And any abstentions?
I am John. Thank you.
Okay. All right, motion is denied then. So I'll go back through to the board for consideration, just like everything else on here. Then we move on to item 12. Item 12 is we're moving to a public hearing. The opportunity for public to provide input regarding the proposed amendment to Village of Cottage Grove Comprehensive Plan regarding a mixed use for area number 2. So we'll start with, this is an interim matter, so we'll start with Aaron. You've got the memo in here.
Yeah, so you'll recall, if it was last meeting or the meeting before, when Kevin Metcalf and his team came with their concept for their property on the north side of BB between Court Crossing and Sandpiper Trail. Their proposal did not include any commercial space or buildings, which is currently required by the comp plan within 150 feet of Highway BB. So the change we would recommend to address that, since there did seem to be support for that concept, would be to just change that clause to say mixed use or commercial required within 150 feet of the Highway BB frontage unless the requirement is waived by the village board following input from the plan commission.
All right. Since public hearing, I will inquire if anybody from the public wants to speak on this particular item, and then we'll go into questions from commission members. So again, anybody from the public, feel free to state your name and where you're located, and then keep your comments to no more than 3 minutes so that we can move on to others as well. All right. All right, then we'll move on to commission members' questions for...
Don't you have to close the public hearing?
Yeah, I can, Fred, I guess.
Sorry.
Yes, we'll move to close the public hearing portion of this. Sometimes we have commission members that want to ask initial questions, but thanks, Fred. All right. Questions, comments?
Technically, what you're approving is the resolution, which references the change that's in the staff report.
Which is also in your packet, Aaron provided, right?
So the report is the exhibit that's referenced in the...
Yeah. So this is really the opportunity to say whether or not you want anything other than what's currently zoned there. This is a commission's opportunity to comment on that and obviously rule on that.
I guess I'm going to go back to the same thing I said about the moving out project. If we keep taking commercial away, we're not going to have any more room for commercial, and we're going to have all these people and nowhere to put our businesses. So I'm against this one as well.
Okay. Thank you, Kim. Other comments?
So I'll say that when the comp plan was done and areas were zoned, it was based on what the board felt, or the plan commission, whoever made that at that time, how they felt they wanted the community to look. The market has dictated how our community looks, though. Nothing has gone in those places. businesses don't want to go there for some reason. I'm concerned that if we weren't to amend the comp plan and allow for something to be built there, it's going to remain empty for a long time again. I don't think it helps our community to have empty spaces right on a main street. So I think that it'll help to bring in other businesses to have this change. If businesses aren't in our inner communities, if they are more on the outside or the perimeter, that I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. And our community will continue to expand into the town. So there are spaces still for businesses to go. So I think this is a good amendment. Thanks.
All right.
And keep in mind, everybody, that Kevin Metcalf twice had an approved project to this parcel, and neither time was he able to anchor tenants to fill the proposed strip malls and shopping centers that he proposed. And then also Casey's gas station was proposed, and that was that was not approved. So there's been activity over the years on this, and the two projects that were approved, just the economics weren't there to make them viable. We still do have two lots, one on each side of this proposed project, that is still available for business and commercial use.
Yep, I saw that. It seems that putting a residential right in the middle of those two, would that make it more or less likely that businesses would go there? And how does that look? I guess I was looking more at the optics of it as well. There's the post office, and then empty lot, and then apartment building, and then empty lot, and then CVS. It just seems kind of hodgepodge, where, with the plan as it is right now, at least that's a stretch of businesses that can come in. And I'm not sure what time frame you're talking about, Don, for those where you couldn't get anchors. I'd say within the last 5 years, our population has grown quite a bit, and perhaps that has changed. And then with the addition of the Cottage Grove Commons, that's another possible 1,000 people. So we're getting up there in residents of the village and the town, where it may be more attractive now, as opposed to what it was like 5 years ago, even 2 years ago, with all the new construction and the development by the school and things of that nature. So I don't know. Those are just my thoughts.
John, can I have a couple?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. I agree with everybody. There's good reasons to make some changes, but also kind of what I'm seeing is this is a giant chunk of change, right? So if it's a single plat or lot that we're talking about that they want to try and do some different development than the original plan, I think that's a good discussion. Changing the entire dynamic of that area is a pretty significant change. Yes, I think it was Casey's General was approved by the Planning Commission. It was ready to go, and I think the board denied it, and as part of some residential concerns and whatnot, and that's fine. But that was only a few years ago. The larger anchors, that might be some additional time has passed since those were here. So I like the innovation. I like the proposal that they brought for the residential units that they're talking about putting there, but I'm just not seeing this big picture of changing all of these lots into at this time to be able to, I think it's going to create a little bit of confusion as well. So that's my thoughts.
Aaron, were there thoughts why the entire area versus just the one parcel, the large parcel in the middle there from Metcalf's?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. There's more specific projects that we would.
Bound to happen once. Yeah, I guess. I lost my train of thought. I guess I don't see it as quite the same level of change. It's still going to be a case-by-case scenario where the board can choose to waive this or not. I think this just provided more flexibility for that whole mixed-use area, as opposed to making these tinier, a number of tiny changes to accomplish the same thing. But if the Plan Commission is concerned with applying this to the whole area, they could certainly restrict it to the Metcalf site.
So it was included as this whole site because in our comp plan, it's part of planned mixed use area number 2.
Yeah.
Is that why? So that's okay. But it could, from what you said, just want to make sure I understand. It's just allowing a greater scope of what can go there. But any project still has to come before Plan Commission and the board. Like it doesn't automatically become residential. It could be business there too. It leaves a wide array.
Correct.
Okay, great, thank you.
Other thoughts from commission members?
I guess I'd make a motion to recommend approval of Plan Commission, Village of Cottage Grove Plan Commission Resolution 2020-12, adopting and recommending amendments to the comprehensive plan of the Village of Cottage Grove, Dane County, Wisconsin, for mixed area number 2.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and second then. Any further discussion? All right, having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
To opposition, okay. Motion carries. I'm assuming there's no abstentions. All right.
Are we giving the school board a run for their money on the longest meeting we can have?
No.
No, we got some village board meetings that take this one and then some. But the school board does have some lengthy ones as well. I agree, Kim. Lots to cover, though. And we'll move into discuss and consider a proposed site plan amendment for Quick Trip for a building addition on the former Stop and Go convenience store located at 1100 North Windsor Avenue. There's a number of items in your packet related to this particular item. I don't know if someone from Quick Trip is on or not. Oh,
Good evening. My name's Eric Drazkowski. I'm with Excel Engineering. We're here on behalf of Quick Trip. We were responsible for doing the architectural and site design plans. I'm a civil engineer, so I did the site design and the submittal package. So what they are doing here is acquiring the existing Stop and Go. They're rebranding the store. They're going to reskin it and add an addition onto the north side. It'll be a 945 square foot addition. The dumpster that's on that side will just be shifted west, and the entrance doors will be shifted slightly on the east side. And There will also be a door added on the south side and east side as well. And we have ramps there to access the doors on that side. We are also, they're going to reskin it, right, with the standard Quick Trip colors and brick. If I didn't mention that before. And then on the north side, they'll be adding new sanitary service. South side will be water service. And they'll be changing the lights from existing lights to LED fixtures. So I guess that's the short summary of that project.
All right. Thanks, Eric. Comments from staff? Aaron, start with you.
Yeah, I think generally it looked good. Good timing with all the other development up and down corridor potentially here. So my only comment was kind of related to that, just also adding the sidewalk along N and connecting up with the projects to the north. Kevin may have had a few comments as well.
Yeah, I think you did. Thanks, Aaron.
I don't think I had too much for comments. Obviously, the sidewalk, Aaron and I had discussed that, so agree with the sidewalk there. I don't think my other comments, they were more just notes that the site is planned to maintain the same stormwater controls that they had previously with the size of the ponds that are there. They're remaining, doing a little regrading for where the steps are or the access on the south side is to meet the same volumes and everything that's there. And then I assumed that there must be a retaining wall of some sort or thickened steps on that south side. It looked like it, based on the grades anyway, it looked like it dropped off basically right there. So, and you've got railing on it and everything, so.
Correct. It'll be 2-foot exposed concrete down there with the railings on that. Yeah.
So otherwise that was it.
All right. Thanks, Kevin. Questions or comments from commission members for Eric, Kevin, or Aaron?
I'm just curious, is the business going to stay open while it's being remodeled?
I believe they're trying to do that at their facility. So yes,
Okay.
I would say yes.
Any other questions or comments?
I just have a question about the sidewalk. Is that just along that it's just going to be along that property? It's not going to, if we're not putting anything farther down, it's just along that property line.
So it's my understanding it'll be just along our property up to our north property line.
It would just be along, and the plan was that moving out was, one of the recommendations was to have the moving out facility have sidewalk that would continue from this. And then, as we mentioned with the Cottage Grove Commons, if we take that down to limestone and have a potential crossing there or something to look at. So that was the intent was it would be continuous with that moving out as well down through there.
Okay.
Or again, discuss and consider if we want to move right into that direction. If there's no comments or questions.
John, I'll make a motion to approve the proposed site plan amendment from Quick Trip for a building addition to the former Stop and Go convenience store located at 1100 North Windsor Avenue. With staff recommendations. Staff recommendations.
I'll second that with staff recommendations.
Okay. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Don. Any further discussion? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Anybody abstain? Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Eric. Have a good night.
Yeah, you guys as well.
All right. Next, we'll move on to a public hearing. So open a public hearing, the opportunity for public to comment, provide input regarding a proposed amendment to the Village of Cottage Grove zoning ordinance related to setbacks in parks. This was something I think the commission touched on last time, I believe, or maybe 2 times ago. So we'll open that up. We'll have comments from staff first. Aaron?
Yeah, so we have talked about this a little bit before. This is coming up because currently there's a 50-foot setback in parks to any sort of active equipment or recreation area, which makes sense when the parks are really big, but now we're starting to have smaller parks like the one in West Lawn, which is a little bit less than an acre. And that 50-foot setback basically means you can't really do much of anything on it. So we'd like to make a change that just shortens up that setback.
Okay. All right, then I will just pause and allow anybody from the public to chime in on this particular item since it's a public hearing before moving to close. Again, ask the public provide their name and address and limit to 3 minutes in case there's several folks that want to speak.
If I can just jump in, the language change is in the ordinance and not in the staff report.
Correct, yeah. It's also attached, yep, in the packet. All right, then I'll move to close the public hearing and then move on to discussion from commission members related to this item. And that is item 16, discussing potential zoning amendment related to the setbacks in parks. And the zoning, again, as Aaron said, the actual verbiage is in the attachments, ordinance 10-2020, amending chapter 325. And then there's a section 2 in there where it relates to this.
I have a question for Aaron.
Go ahead, Alex.
Yep. So the 15 feet from the residential zone property. So just logistics. How does that work? So if it's a 2 properties side by side, does that also mean 15 feet from the sidewalk, or is that a different dimension?
This would be from the property. I believe the existing setback for the parks on a street side is already smaller. The 50 feet is also from a residential property.
The original was 50 feet, right?
Yeah. But the street setback is separate. That wasn't an issue that was causing
Okay. All right, good. That was my question. Thank you.
Are there questions or comments from commission members?
I guess I can point out that the intention as it's written is that there would be buffering, landscaping all the way around the park necessarily. It's just adjacent to where these activity areas are. So if there's a playground, you would have the landscape buffer by the playground, but not necessarily all the way around.
I would make a motion to recommend approval of ordinance 10-2020, amending chapter 325 of the Village of Cottage Grove Municipal Code.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and second then. Any further discussion? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Anybody abstain? Motion carries. All right, item 17 then is a presentation on the concept from Dan and Katie Schwab for outdoor entertainment conditional use located at 2638 Coffeetown Road.
Hi, I'm Katie Schwab. This is my husband, Dan Schwab. We live at 2638 Coffeetown Road. And we are hoping to show you our concept to get a conditional use permit on our farm for some outdoor music. So I'm going to share our screen. Can you guys see the site plan?
We can.
A little small, yeah.
A little small. Okay, I can try to. That a little better? So what we're hoping is we have about 18 acres on the corner of Coffeetown and Vilas. And we're hoping to do an outdoor music venue. The parking would come off of Coffeetown Road. So right over here would be N. There's over an acre. I mean, we actually have more. This is our property too, but we're thinking just right here for vehicles, about 60 parking spots, do a walkway up here, and then just have an outdoor stage over here, some like portable bar areas and portable toilets. Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights in good weather, just have live music from like 3 to 10 p.m. And hopefully, since Country Corner's closed down, get some more music back in our side of town. I don't know what I'm, that's about all I have. I don't know what more information you need at the moment.
Yeah, so they're here to present the concept and get some feedback. Ultimately, this would have to be approved as a conditional use. But before they went through the effort of putting that application together, we just wanted to get some feedback from you guys first.
So questions or feedback from commission members?
Would you go through the process of getting an alcohol license, or do you have that?
We do not have it, but we have been talking to Lisa about, yes, we would get a liquor license also. Yes.
Okay.
But we weren't gonna apply for that until this, like, till we would get the conditional use permit.
Do you have, is there like a maximum or number of people that you're thinking about, or?
Well, according to the village, that you can have 3 people per vehicle space. So in this rendering, we'd have a max of 180. But we'd probably be looking, I mean, that's probably the upper end of where we'd want and feel comfortable with anyhow. So we might even be a little bit less than that.
Probably like 150, realistically, hopefully, maybe.
I'd ask what your neighbors think, but I don't think you have any neighbors down there, do you?
No, landmark.
Would this be seasonal?
Yeah.
Yes, only during, probably sometime opening in May, and then obviously weather permitting into October, probably only in the first couple of weeks.
So you're going to have to build a stage and the bar area?
Well, the bar area is actually going to be contained. Well, it's more like a concession from the outside of the barn.
This is the barn right here.
The bar would be kind of inside, but not accessible to the public.
They'd be up against the barn and stuff. And then we would just have portable toilets outside.
How would you access Highway N? Is it's hard to see this. Is it off of Coffeetown then? Is that where these, from the parking lot you proposed here in the etched area?
Yep, this is Coffeetown, and then actually Vilas is over here on the end over here. But yeah, you'd access it through Coffeetown.
Okay. Yeah, Coffeetown, and there's a major intersection there, so they could get out there and be safe and everything. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yep.
Is the plan to charge for the event or charge for parking, or what's the?
Well, depending on the popularity of the band, during our research, we found that some people get paid a flat fee for performing at a venue like this. And other times, some bands would collect, maybe money for parking or an entrance fee. But our hope is to stay away from that and have the event
be free to the public, and then obviously no carry-ins or anything like that, and then be able to make revenues off of liquor sales, soda, snacks, that kind of thing.
I think with the social distancing not disappearing anytime soon, I think outdoor venues is very innovative, and I appreciate you taking a leap here and presenting to the board. I have no questions. It looks good to me at this point, until we learn more. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. One thing I guess, is there like electrical readily available for lighting and stuff? And is the parking lot, do you think that'll be lit or not?
The parking lot would not be lit at this point. There is electricity that is run out to the barn where the bar area and the porta potties are. We'd continue that onto the stage for obvious lighting and sound systems and that kind of thing. But at this point, maybe just a light over the entrance to the parking lot.
And actually, Landmark is actually pretty lit up at night. It provides a pretty good light all through the night.
Thanks.
What's currently in the circle area?
Just like a tree and some old brush and leaves. That's where I dump our leaves and stuff like that right now, and tree limbs.
So you'd have to do a little yard work.
Yep.
Brush pickup, huh?
we do all the time already.
Yeah, I think it's interesting as well. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about it.
Awesome.
I agree. I think it looks very interesting.
Awesome.
I'd be in favor of it.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
I guess one more thing to just bring up, and I don't know, is there some sort of spot for marketing or signage or billboard or something? And is that acceptable on that site currently?
I don't know if it is. I wasn't really planning on putting up much. We could find out.
Yeah, we don't know exactly what it is, but Cenex has at the corner of Highway N and Coffee Town lit up sign with their pricing on that.
And Houston across the street has signs,
a tombstone sign
and stuff. So probably, but I'd have to find out. I don't know.
I was just curious if you had a plan and if it's just something to look into as you move forward.
Yeah.
All right. Any other comments? The Schwabs? Sounds like the commission is in favor of hearing a bit more from you guys, and I'm not hearing anything showstoppers by any means.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
We'll get in touch and we can help you work through the application. Keep moving forward.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night, guys. All right. Items 18 then is review of a temporary use application from Andrew Homburg for the storage of relocatable buildings on lot number 2, CSM 11991 in Cottage Grove Business Park. There is a memo in the packet and a picture of actually the units on the property already. And so, Aaron, you want to start us off? And I see that Andrew's with us as well.
Yeah, so technically staff can issue a temporary use permit, but this was kind of unusual enough that we wanted to get a little feedback from you guys first. So these are tiny homes that you can see in the picture in the staff report that Andrew is looking to store for a short period of time, and I'll let him explain that in a second here. But basically, that would be allowed for up to 6 months. If it's more than 6 months, they would have to come back for a conditional use permit. Andrew, if you want to add to that, how this came about and everything.
There we go. I think I'm unmuted. Hi, everyone.
Yes, you are.
The genesis of this started a number of years ago at the Garver feed mill site. We partnered with Baum Revision and Bachman Construction on that project. The phase one of that project was the renovation of that old feed mill, that historic feed mill building that we're all, I think, familiar with. And the area directly north of that had been envisioned for a tiny home community. Baum is a Chicago area developer, very innovative. They love to dig into renovation and unique projects. And so they had partnered with MATC. The students had built several of these homes. They'd been housed there for a couple of years as Baum kind of moved forward very slowly with phase two of that Garver project. It's an interesting market. They've had a couple of different concepts on how they would apply tiny homes in that phase two area to the north. And in the meantime, MATC needed some space, and we had worked with them extensively. They called us to ask if we had any thoughts about where they could house those for a short period of time. And this particular lot in our business park has been vacant for a long time. We mow the grass, plow the sidewalk, maintain it. I market it, pay the taxes, and hope that someday somebody will bite and we get a business in there. But so far, that hasn't happened, and that's been going on since '96. So we wanted to put these here for a short period of time. I actually thought perhaps, if we could introduce these types of homes in a space where people would walk by and see them, maybe there's a spot that it works in the community as we, move forward in the neighborhoods to the north and west and that whole northwest quadrant. As we move north and westerly, we do intend to, lower price points from where we are now with the high-end custom single families. And as we approach that intersection, maybe some opportunities present themselves. That's not going to happen within 6 months, obviously. But for this short period of time, we were hoping to have permission to store them on this lot.
We're recommending approving that just with a couple of conditions. One, just making it clear that they're for storage. We don't want people living in them for 6 months. And they are subject to the setback requirements, which it looks like it's meeting based on them.
Yeah, we had a professional mover do the work. So they're in square, they're level, they're stable, they're locked, they look good. They're just there for a little bit.
I'll make a motion to approve with conditions.
I'll second that.
Motion second. Any further discussion?
Yeah, it just says review temporary use application. Is this a motion to consider, or is it something? Aaron, what are we doing?
Yeah, technically staff issues it, but we're looking for guidance from you guys. So if you want to do that as a motion, that's certainly fine.
Okay, sounds good.
It's definitely guidance.
Made the second?
I did.
Okay.
Done.
All right, we any further discussion on this item? All right, having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Anybody abstain? Motion carries. All right, item 19 is future agenda items. I think there are several that will continue to percolate through as far as their plans and depending on when they're ready. Aaron, anything else that you're aware of that?
I think the Metcalfs are planning to do a neighborhood meeting and start working on their applications for that site. I think Craig Frank is planning to come back next month if he can get the drawings and everything ready, but that was his intent. Those are the ones that come to mind.
Okay. Anything from anyone else? All right. Item 20 is adjournment. Is there a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Thanks, Fred. Second. Second from Kim, I think. Non-debatable. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night.
Working through the long agenda.